Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Haynes. I'm an audiobook narrator,
And I'm Trenton Bennett, and I'm also an audiobook narrator.
and we're here to talk particularly to authors and publishers about the process and hopefully some steps that can be saved in terms of how one goes about taking the written word and putting it into audio if you haven't done that before. Or if you do that and you want a fresh perspective, that's what we're here for. Today's topic is romance. What a good romance narrator does. And there's a little bit of backstory in terms of why this topic came up between us. Trenton.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So I am currently doing a multi-title rom-com thriller. I've done some other comedy or some other romances that are in different niche genres, like a chaste romance. But I'm looking to broaden my skills because I have received positive feedback that I would do very well in other areas of romance. And I'm thinking to myself, what should I do to help make my performances more closely crafted to the specific niches that play to my strengths?
Mhm. I think the first thing is to figure out what I've been doing lately that's been a lot of fun is deciding what really, if I were to be cast in a TV show or a film, I go through all of my favorite movies and think, what role would realistically I have been cast as? And some for some of them, it's like there really isn't anything there for me. For some, it's like, ooh, I could be the lead in that because that's, for example, a no-brainer for a lot of people, Jeff Goldblum movies.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say I sound like him and have that type of personality. But being honest with oneself and that's one factor. I think another factor, because I've been blessed to do a lot of romance books and especially some series romance books. I think a good romance narrator has probably a good command of different voices. And normally I wouldn't say that about the importance of narrating books. But with romances, particularly ones that are serialized, which is a lot more common, you're getting the two main characters who are in the romantic entanglement. Their story resolves, and then the two supporting characters who have previously been in the background come to the forefront in the next book. And then they all mix in the following book as supporting characters, whereas the previously supporting characters in the other book come back around to here. And I'll tell you that Chris Michaels, who has blessed me again with probably, I think, 45 books that we've done together at this point.
Wow.
I love it dearly, and I always embracing myself for the dinner scene or the team summit because that's when that's when Chris has about 20 to 30 of the characters all together. And there was two books called The Siege, which were essentially the Infinity War of her previous books. All the main characters from all the previous books had an equal ensemble spread, and every single one of them got a position there.
I
So
had no idea.
I think the ability to craft and it's a fun challenge. I mean, it's a really fun challenge. And it's a thrill to basically be a one person Infinity War. But I think the ability to be able to pick up on different sh colors, tones, accents, any skill that a narrator has in their back pocket to just make the voices just distinct enough so that uh, if they're being quoted after having said something, you still before that recognize that they're the ones that said it. That's the first step, I would say. There are probably some others, and we can make this just a steady drip of videos. But I would say that's the first. See if your narrator does have the versatility to create different voices give that a shot. That could come in very, very handy because chances are, if you're a romance author, you likewise intend on serializing your romances. So that's what I got so far. Trent, any thoughts based on that?
It's funny. I'm thinking of two things. One is I have overheard feedback online for particular romance titles where someone said, "Oh, the narrator didn't even try to make the voices sound different." So it tells me that you're absolutely correct that that's the take out there. And of course, I believe you. You're really good at this. But the other piece of it is, I was thinking about how I've done a military adventure series with 37 guys, all American, between the ages of about 20 and 30. And I thought to myself, the good fortune is there was no such thing as a dinner scene because on a submarine you can only cram about maybe a half a dozen people in any given
Yes.
room.
Yes. Oh goodness.
I would have a very hard time, but I am doing two separate series that are about to converge that are science fiction that I'm going to have my own chance at the whole Avengers Infinity War.
Well, I'll tell you something that's a blessing of romance for the most part. I haven't narrated any polyamorous romances yet, but what's typical with romance is at least a couple of times per book we have chapters where it's exclusively the protagonists by themselves or with just each other. And that makes it much more survival. On a submarine, I don't know if you get that. So
Yeah.
that's yeah. Well, folks, my name is Matt Haynes,
And I'm Trenton Bennett.
and as your narrators and your guides through the world of narration, I hope that our voices and your ears meet again real soon.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, everybody.